in terms of hanging, so I was hoping to do like an overdramatic dance video or something before I ever filmed any videos like this, but due to what's happening in the world right now, I have no chance to go and film that. So I figured, why don't I just get into the videos about it and just forget about that. I can do it a lot later, but I'm still gonna do it. So today I'm going to be talking about my coming out story. Now, to anyone who don't know, I am bisexual, which means I fancy both genders. And I'm just going to kind of talk about like how I came out and all this stuff. It's true that every single story is different. Every experience is different because no two experiences are the exact same. Which, for me, definitely is true. So, growing up in Ireland, my family was the typical Irish family. We were religious, we were all cultures, and if you don't know what a culture is, it's a person who grows up in the country in Ireland. That's basically it. I was a pretty normal kid. Well, I was basically a weirdo because the fact is, growing up I had very little friends. The fact that I grew up in the countryside, I never really was good at talking to people. I had people that I lived around. Like the people who were actually my closest friends were my cousins, and I didn't really know anyone else. And like when I went to school properly, I wasn't that good at keeping friends. I was the loser, I was the weirdo, I was the loner. Basically, I didn't have much friends until I didn't have like a true friend until I got into 4th or 3rd class. When you grew up in the 90s, you kind of, in a way, your brain is different than everyone else's, like these days. Because for some reason our brains were matured a bit more, like, you know, because cartoons really had a lot of like double meanings and stuff. We kind of picked those up when we were growing up, that we were kind of a lot different to the kids these days. So basically, I mean that, like, when I was growing up, I had a crush on this girl when I was in primary school. Like, I'm going to call her S. I'm not going to call them by people's names. The only people I'm going to talk about is the people who are like my friends. I had this huge crush on this girl S. We were actually good friends. Like, we weren't like best friends, but we were friends. Like, I'd go over to her house every once in a while, and I had this huge crush on her. Like, yes, I was only like 5 or 6, so that's how it kind of helps kind of add to the point that we were a bit different than every other kid. So yeah, I was like really into this girl, and I never really did anything because the fact is that I was way too afraid that she's like doing anything. And yeah, I liked this girl, and I was straight going all the way up to like maybe end of primary school, except for, I say that, but I also wasn't, because a lot of people say that you notice like the fact that someone is gay when they're growing up. Like, there's obvious signs. The thing is, I like playing with action men. I like playing, like, I was a typical boy. I like playing with cars, all different toys, like action men, superheroes. I was just into the normal boy stuff. I was never into like any girls' toys, like where you notice the fact that a kid is gay. The thing is, I did have a sign, but I didn't really notice it back then because I was just thought it was just me playing. So I had this friend. I'm not gonna say his letter because he may watch this and he may not, but I'm just not gonna say his name because I've never really told anyone about this, not even my closest friends these days, because it's kind of like something I don't really talk about. But basically, me and this guy, we were good friends, and I go over to his house like quite a number of times, and let's just say, you know the way that a boy and a girl would go off when they were kids and play a game like called Doctors. Like, if you don't know what it is, it's like this game where basically a boy and a girl would kind of, let's say, experiment as kids. Not like the weird shit, but let's say they start doing like stuff that you do a lot more when you're older. But the thing is, I did that with this guy. Me and him, we'd play a game called Mammies and Daddies. As I said, we were different as kids, so basically we knew that Mammies and Daddy kiss. So me and this guy, 6, 7, 8 years old at the time, and I just thought this was a game. I just thought, okay, I'm playing pretend. I'm pretending to be a mommy or I'm pretending to be a daddy. Like, we'd always switch stuff, and we'd kiss. And like, I'd say like every once in a while going to like his house, we'd play that game every once in a while, and yes, we'd kiss like every single time we'd be playing this game. And to us it was just make-believe. We were just like playing this game, and it was just like something what we do, and it didn't feel odd at the time. But the thing is, growing up, you only hear about gay or straight. Like, you never really know about anything else. Like, straight was a normal thing. You were like the whole heteronormative like society, you don't really know like gay or straight. Gay was always the bad thing. Growing up in like primary school, gay was always like, oh, you're so gay. Oh, because if you have showed any sort of their acting anyway effeminate, like, oh, you're so gay. And like gay was always a term of like insult. And like whenever someone was like, trying to insult something and say, oh, that's so gay and all this stuff. Because of that, growing up, you just think of gay as a bad thing. Moving on a couple of years, me and this guy started to kind of drift apart after a while, and like to secondary school, and that was the year that I started to question my sexuality. Let's just say I was in English class at one point, and this new guy came into our class. He just moved to where I live, and he came into English class, and it was sat like a couple of tables up, and I could not stop looking at him. I don't know what was up with me, and every time he looked back at me and smiled and give me a thumbs up, I felt butterflies in my stomach, and I was like, and I always smile as well. Every time he'd look back and smile, I'd be stuck with a big smile on my face. I was like, I don't know what the feck is going on. There's something going on with me. But I kind of just brushed it aside and didn't really know what it was until, let's just say, but this guy, me and him became friends. Like, he lived near my friend, so like he was like friends with my friend. Basically, he came over one day to play a game of Blind Man's Bluff. If you know what Blind Man's Bluff is, just Google it. I'm not going to explain what it is. And one time, the guy was standing up on the bed, and I leaped up on the bed too, and this guy pulled me in and groped me. A typical straight guy would say, what the hell is wrong with you? Get off me. But I didn't, because in a way I knew I liked it. And that's what started me off all freaking out, because ever since that moment I started questioning my sexuality. I was like, am I gay? Am I straight? Do I like girls? Do I like guys? Am I gay when I still like girls? What the hell's going on? Because the fact is, as I said, you only know gay or straight. That's all you know. Being bisexual, bisexuality, pansexuality, all this stuff didn't exist. All these terms you never really know about because they weren't really talked about, because like it was the 90s. No one talked about like sexuality and stuff. All you knew about is gay or straight. Because of that, I didn't really know much. I like for the solid like 3 years of secondary school, let's just say me and this guy, we kind of like had a sort of weird flirting thing. Like there's times he'd try to poke my down there again as a joke. He'd be like pretend it's a joke, and it's like he's trying to bully me or something. And like, as people say, and it's in a way it's true, when someone fancies you, they bully you. And he clearly fancied me, but the thing is, I think he was like me. He didn't know what sexuality was. So basically one day, like it was 4th year we were in, our school kind of went to the gym and pool because it was right next to our school, like during PE and stuff. And one day we were in the pool. We were in the changing area once. There was nobody in the changing area. It was just us two. And I asked B, was he gay? And he says, no, I'm not. Why are you? I said no. No, of course not. Because I wasn't going to accept I was gay because I didn't know if I was gay or straight. But then I think it was just actually after 4th year, I was hanging out with my once friend, because like we're not really friends anymore because the fact is she's changed because of college. We were talking about stuff like, and then she told me about bisexuality, and I was like, what is that? It's you when you fancy both genders. And I was like, oh my god, that's me. Oh my freaking god, I now know what my sexuality is. But because of a certain thing, I thought that bisexuality meant that you had to sleep with both genders. And that's why I was like, okay, I'm not bisexual, I'm bi-curious. Because the fact is, I like both genders, but I've not slept with either one. Because I was way too afraid to ask out anyone. And yeah, so yeah, I asked that B, and like I asked him was he gay, and he said no. So I didn't, like nothing really happened. And like once we finished secondary school, we stopped talking. We went off to different colleges and we barely saw each other. I don't think we ever saw each other since that we finished secondary school. I started college, and college was interesting time. Like I'm still kind of figuring out was I bisexual and all. And then my friends started to make friends who were part of the LGBTQ plus society in the college. And then there was one time we were in, it was my 3rd or 2nd year, one of the guys who I actually had a crush on at the time, like, and I knew I did, he said bisexuals were greedy, and actually really infuriated me when he said this. Moving on, we had just finished college. Like there was one point where one of my friends was talking about this guy who was also bisexual that they were friends with. Suddenly they said, they were asking like, none of us are bisexual, are you bisexual, Kira? I was like, no, of course not, because like as I said, I was still curious at the time. I didn't know what the hell I was. When we finished college, me and my friend Simon, which was like my longest friend, he is my longest friend I've ever had, we went to Portugal with his family went to Portugal, and he asked me if I wanted to go too, and I was like, yeah, awesome. And that's where I officially told my best friend ever that I was bisexual, because like at the time I was like figuring out that I was bisexual, and that that last year of college I started to figure out I was bisexual, and nothing else was right. I wasn't gay, I wasn't straight, I was bisexual. Ever since that point, I said basically, look, I'm just going to tell anyone I'm bisexual. Like, as time went on, I was like, look, I'm going to tell everyone who doesn't know my family that I was bisexual. Between 2014 and 2015, I was kind of dealing with a lot of shit. I fell into depression and all that, and it was partly linked because the fact that I just wasn't able to be my full self. Also because the fact is I felt cut off from all my friends. I didn't have a job. Everything was kind of felt like it was going wrong. I just felt like nothing was right. So 2015 came along and I made a video. Like, basically, for anyone who doesn't remember, 2015 was the year that Ireland was doing a referendum where they were going to pass marriage equality for anyone who wants to get married, aka like people who are the same sex want to get married, and they could. And because of that, I felt I had to go and just talk about this. And like, I made a YouTube video talking about the fact that just like I want to support this, and I want everyone else to go vote yes for equality in 2015. Basically, it's like, then I kind of reveal, I said I support this because the fact is I am bisexual myself, and I don't talk about this because the fact is my family are really religious, and the thing is they wouldn't understand. I just wanted to like talk about it, just kind of talk about my opinions and all that. Just afterwards, I went and got a job, and I moved away from home, and just everything was like fine, and I started to feel better. But then one time I came home, and yeah, everything started to go to shit because let's just say someone of my extended family found the video and told both my dad and my mom, like at 2 different times. My aunt Geraldine, and if she's ever watched this video, you basically pushed out my coming out for a couple of years because of you. I was so afraid to ever come out. But anyway, so basically she told my dad about my sexuality, the fact that I like men as well as women, and then suddenly she also told the fact that in my video I mentioned, as I said, I mentioned the fact that they were religious and the fact that I couldn't really come out because I felt like I'd be kicked out of my house. And then she completely blew it up proportion and made it sound like we're super religious and they were like burn me alive or something like this, some bullshit. Because of that, I had to full on deny that she was telling the truth. I said, oh, she's lying, I know what she's on about. Because like basically one day, like I come home, I was in the car and my dad goes to me, Kieran, did you write a Facebook post about your sexuality and the fact that like we are super religious? When I say that I literally froze in that moment, that is an understatement. I was terrified. I knew what he was talking about, but I was like, how did he find out what's going on? In that moment, I wanted to just wish I hadn't existed. I wanted to disappear because I was so afraid. I was like, oh my god, how did he find out what's going on? What am I going to do? So I pulled out and just denied everything. I said, like, I don't know what she's on about. I never did a Facebook post about, like, because it was meant to YouTube videos, but it's like, I said, I don't know what she's talking about. It's all fake. Like, she just lying through her teeth. And he said, why would she say something like that? I'm like, oh, I don't know. Then she told my mom as well, literally afterwards, and then I literally had to tell her that she was lying too. And I was just, oh my god, I hated her so much. I still hate her to this day. Every time I see her, I remember one time I saw her afterwards, I had to play it off like that I was still like oh yeah, hi. I want to kill her now. So because of that, I had to push my like coming out for a couple of years. Well, that and also the fact that when the marriage equality did actually pass, now I'm not going to say anything bad about my mom because like my mom's actually great. It's like she's changed so much, she's so great now. But back then when the marriage equality passed, my mom says what she said hurt me. I was going to come out that day. Oh, that's great. It really shows that basically that if all the young people go out and vote, it shows how much of an impact they can make. Now what she said after really hurt me. She said it may have not been an important thing this time, but anyway, I also kind of hinted the fact that I was bi, and then she said, oh yeah, the bisexuality wasn't a thing, that you're either gay or straight, that it's all in genetics, and that you can't be both. And like, oh, like that literally like pushed off my, like I could have come out multiple times in my life, and like every single time I stopped myself because it was just, I couldn't. Like, for one instance, when I came out to my brother, and this was not really a great like coming out to my brother about this. So one time I wanted to go to a pride parade, my first pride parade, and my mom literally told me, no, you're not going, because thought of it as a movement. Like, of course it's a movement, like they want to have equality for all, everyone to like be happy. She's like, no, you're not going, because this it's not right. That was the first time ever that I had such a heated argument with my mom. Like, it was probably the worst fight I've ever had with my mom, because like, she cried. She got into the car and drove off. I had no idea where the hell she was gone. And my brother came in and said, Kieran, maybe you just shouldn't go. Like, cause like you see how it's like annoying mom, so maybe you just shouldn't go. And I just literally said, this is how I came out to my brother. I said, you know why I want to go? Because I'm bi. And like, I was so angry. And my brother was like so shocked. His jaw was like, the thing is, he accepted it completely. Because like, he grew up at the same time as me, so he didn't mind at all. But the thing is, my brother kind of held me back, saying, coming out to my family. Like, I was kind of afraid too to come out like multiple times. Like, I always thought, like, when you're growing up in like a religious family, you're thinking like you're gonna be kicked out of the family, because the fact is, you watch like movies and TV shows where when someone comes out as gay or anything that's not straight, it's wrong and you're gonna be kicked out. You're gonna be sent to like a conversion therapy or something like that. I know that really happens in America, but still, you just think it's gonna happen. So fast forward to 2018, I had like got on a couple of dates with a bunch of guys. I also had like, was technically in a way, so I wouldn't really call it a relationship. It was more like a friends with benefits situation, let's just say that. And I did all this under the radar. My mom didn't know anything about it, because the fact is that I lived away from home. Like, I think that she didn't know wouldn't hurt her, and like, because of that, I went and just did whatever I wanted. Then the movie Love, Simon came out, and I went to see that, and I loved it. Like, I actually cried during the scene where Jennifer Garner actually goes and tells like, you get to breathe now, Simon, and you can be more you than you have been in a very long time. Which is why I went and got this tattoo here. Like, what's the line, you get to be more you than you haven't been in a very long time. I got this tattoo mainly because, one, I literally went and saw that movie, then I read the book, and I said, okay, I have to tell my mom. I'm telling my mom I'm bisexual, that's it, I'm telling her. One time, but my mom only comes up every month or so, because like, the fact that I lived away from home, I wouldn't go home myself at all, honestly, because I love being close to the city and just can't stand the country. She came up one day, this was after the second time I saw Love, Simon in the cinema, and I just went like, I'm telling mom. I was talking to my brother on the phone. I was like, I'm telling mom I'm bisexual there, and I have to come out to her. I have to, nothing else. I'm definitely coming out to her. Like, close to just before she left, I was like, mom, I have to tell you something. And she sat down, and I literally full on panicked for her. Like, I was sitting like just over there, and I was panicking. I was like, oh, I want to tell you. Like, oh, and literally I was just like that. I was just like holding back. It's like, part of me was saying, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it. But I was also, the other part of me was saying, you have to say it, go, you have to just say it, go on, just say it, Kieran, say it, say it, say it. I just went like, I'm bi. I was actually surprised with what my mom said, because like, then my mom says, okay, you're bi, so you like both guys and girls. I was like, yeah, that's fine. She completely accepted me for who I was, which I was totally shocked with, because like, as I said, I expected my mom and dad to be like this religious parents, because even my dad has told me multiple times when I was growing up that he hated seeing men kissing, and it made him uncomfortable. I told her everything, and the fact that I didn't want to tell her before, like, also the fact that like the whole shit with my aunt Geraldine, I was just like, and everything she said was blown completely out of proportion, and that's why I didn't tell you that time. I literally said, when dad asked me that, I was like, I couldn't tell him. She said, why didn't you just say, what if I am? And I was just like, yes, but the thing is, I was afraid you were gonna kick me in the house. And she said, no, I would never have done that. Even if like dad didn't accept you, I would have never kicked you out. That really helped. And the thing is, as people say, when you come out, that you feel like an elephant has been taken off your back, it is the truth. When I came out, I felt like I had a huge weight had been taken off my back, and it felt amazing. My mom actually told me she was actually more disappointed that I didn't tell her sooner, but like that she was sad because the fact that I didn't tell her sooner. I was just like, I told her the truth is like I was so afraid to say, because you mentioned the fact that my sexuality wasn't a thing. I told my mom everything. That's what made me push it off so much, and then it's just that I love you, and she headed off. But then suddenly she went home, and on that day she told my dad I was bisexual as well. she went and told my dad. But my dad didn't accept it as fast as my mom did. It took him a while to kind of get used to it all. But the thing is, he did get used to it after a while, because I came home for his birthday, I think it was. When I was about to head back home, my dad hugged me and literally said, "You just be who you want to be." And in all honesty, I was surprised by his response, because the fact is, my mom is one thing, like she was raised in a religious family, but the thing is, my dad was raised in like a super religious family. They were like super backwards, super set in their ways. I was totally surprised by my dad. My dad has actually told my mom before that he regrets not spending more time with me and my brother. Me and my brother don't live at home anymore, and it's just like, it's too late, and he's kind of sad that he never actually got to spend as much time as he actually hoped. So then when both my parents knew, I was able to just be my full self, and like, I gotta say, it's just like, it is amazing being able just to be yourself. And just because like ever since like I actually came out, I've been to like 3 Pride parades. I was at Dublin one twice, and I was at the London one as well, and like I really want to go to more of them, because it's just like, I love Pride parades because they're so good. And I did the night of Pride parades is the best too, because like you just get to go nuts and just dance, just have the best time in the club. But yeah, when you do get to come out, it is amazing, because you just get to it just feels like you're so refreshed, you can be yourself. Because like ever since I came out, I've just become my full self. I don't care what other people think of me. It's like whenever I go out, I will dance, I'll just do whatever I want in public, and if people judge me, then they can go and screw themselves, because I don't care. I am happy the way I am. Like, I've experienced like biphobia before. I've also been called a batty boy in the UK once, but I actually laugh when people call me these things, like, "Oh, batty boy." I was like, ah, yeah, that is such a stupid name. Yeah, that is my coming out story. If you ever want any advice on my side, send me a message on my social medias down below, like Instagram, Twitter. If you haven't come out yet and you are fear of your safety, that you think that if you come out you get kicked out, I say wait and come out to someone that you feel most comfortable with, like a friend or like someone that you feel super close that you would know would accept you. I think that's the best way to do it, because as I say multiple times, we as queer people or LGBTQ plus people, we get to choose our family. Family's not always by blood, and you get to choose your family. The people that you are like closest to, your friends, like someone who you're close to, who you know will accept you, that's your family. Remember that. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week in another video. Bye! See you later. Boom!